Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is John Campea, and this is a companion video. What are companion videos? Well, I'm awfully glad that you asked. To see every day on the John Campea Show, Monday through Friday, we take time to take some live questions, but we don't always have time to get around to all the live questions that get sent in. But I want to make sure that if you send in those questions, that they get answered properly in a video. So that's what we do here on the companion videos. And today is Wednesday, August the 7th, and these are questions that we didn't have time to get around to during the John Campea Show earlier today. So let's not waste any time and let's get caught up. The first one that we're going to get caught up on comes to us from Connor Berry, who writes, "Surprised Dora has an 86% on Rotten Tomatoes. Stunned, but there are a couple things to keep in mind. Number one, it's now dropped to about 80%, which is still way better than I was expecting because this movie looked terrible, just terrible. The other thing to keep in mind is that as of right now, it's only got 20 reviews. And amongst the reviews that are giving it positive, like the one reviewer put it great, saying, this movie is definitely just for people who can't see over the seat in front of them. Basically meaning this movie is specifically targeted at kids, which, I mean, many of us assumed. But, you know, you can get Pixar that can make films that are very kid-friendly, but they're also for adults and everybody can find entertaining. But even then, yeah, I'm surprised to hear it at an 80%. But still, just keep in mind right now that's only 20 reviews. And even the ones that are saying good things about it are saying, but understand this isn't for you as an adult. This is just for kids, unlike, say, Pixar stuff. But still, it's a much better response than I was expecting. I still have no plans on watching it, to be honest with you. But hey, you know, good for them. They're getting a much more positive response than I thought they were. Good for them. All right. Ben Rayner writes, what does this mean for Avatar movies? I'm going to assume you mean, because earlier today we were talking about the big reversal about now how Disney is slashing a bunch of the films on Fox's production schedule and all that kind of stuff. What does it mean for Avatar? Nothing. Because things like Avatar and Planet of the Apes, big Disney-style franchise films, they're going to keep going with. But it's a lot of the other types of films that are getting butchered. It's the majority of all the other films on their slate that are getting sacrificed on the altar. And that was what I was afraid of. That's exactly what I was afraid of with Disney winning the bid to get Fox. I was afraid of this. And it's what's happening. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I trust Disney. I'm a fan of Disney Studios and all their sub companies, you know, with what they've done with Lucasfilm and Marvel and Pixar. And I'm a fan and I trust them. I do. But I'm just saying that this is the sort of thing I was afraid of. But as far as Avatar specifically goes, don't worry. This isn't going to affect Avatar in any way, shape, or form. All right. Dark Knight 117 writes, how can you hate the prequels and love the anti-cheese cuts? Because the anti-cheese cuts are vast improvements. They're vast improvements. And look, by the way, I don't know that I would say that I love the anti-cheese cuts, but I love that they exist. Because they take horrible movies and make them infinitely more watchable. And you know me, I want to love everything Star Wars, but I just can't. There's things about Star Wars I don't like. It's still the most important, biggest thing. I'm the biggest fan in the world of Star Wars, but that doesn't mean I like every single thing about it. Prequels, Clone Wars, certain episodes of Rebels, things about The Last Jedi, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I don't love everything, but the prequels are clearly the worst thing ever in Star Wars, other than the Christmas special. And the anti-cheese edits do such a good job of removing some of the most, you know, offensive material. When I say offensive, I don't mean literally offensive. I just mean quality-wise. They does a great job of removing most of the offensive stuff, changing some things up, giving him more weight. It's just a much better version of the film. Would I say the cheese cuts on their own that I love those movies? I don't know that I would say that, but I love that they exist because they actually, in my opinion, the anti-cheese cuts actually make those movies watchable. They make them legitimately watchable. Whereas in their normal, you know, editions, I don't think they are. Others think they are, which is great. But I personally don't. So that's why I love the anti-cheese cuts. I love that they exist because they make those films watchable to me. All right. Connor Dixon writes, animated Deadpool leak was PG-13 still worked. Hey, listen, Connor, you're preaching to the choir, brother. I was the one. All right. When everybody was saying before the first Deadpool came out that they better make Deadpool rated R, I was the one guy saying, listen, you can do Deadpool PG-13. It's not ideal and it's not what I would do, but you can do Deadpool PG-13. There's a lot you can do and get away with PG-13. The problem, though, and while I still believe that's true, the problem is now we've had 2 amazing Deadpool films, very, very rated R, that have now set the bar. And it's going to be, I believe, difficult for a lot of people. I think it would have been easier to introduce us to a PG-13 Deadpool right off the bat than it will be to have 2 amazing R-rated, highly successful R-rated Deadpool films and then change gears and then make us take in and digest a PG-13 Deadpool. I just think it's going to be a taller order. But in general principle, I agree with you, Connor. I do. I've been saying that for years. James Bonner writes, saw Aladdin and loved it as my first Regal Unlimited movie. Great experience, all done in the Regal app, which is great. Again, look, a lot of people complaining about the Regal Unlimited app, and besides the stupid name that makes no sense and is completely contradictory to what the app and what the program actually does, unlimited, it's not unlimited anyway. Besides that, some people have been complaining, it's not as good as AMC A-List, and no, it's not. It's not as good as AMC A-List, but it's still damn good. If you are a movie fan that goes to like 2 or 3 movies a month, getting this, and you live near a Regal, getting a Regal Unlimited thing is a no-brainer thing to do. And I love the fact that you used it to go see Aladdin. I really enjoyed that film, so I'm glad you had a good time with the movie, and I'm glad you had a good time using the new Regal Unlimited. It is the way of the future, and I'm glad Regal finally launched their program, man. All right. Denzel Lewis writes, you forget. Yes, Disney is parent company, but it's Marvel stuff. Oh, that's adorable, Denzel. That's adorable. Anyway, they are their own gig in films. No, they are not. I'm certain Kevin can make a case for it to be rated R. Look, no, that's a great fantasy world you live in. But the fact of the matter is, Kevin Feige, Kathleen Kennedy, the new heads of Pixar, they all have to come and kneel before Alan Horn. Alan Horn is the boss of all things Disney movies. And Alan Horn only reports to Bob Iger. Make no mistake about it. Like, even when, Disney was thinking, when Lucasfilm was thinking about moving the release date of one of their movies, remember the story was all over. Bob Iger put a stop to it, said no, because Bob Iger is in charge. And under him, his main right-hand man when it comes to all things movie, his chairman of film, is Alan Horn. All these people report to him. Kevin Feige answers to Alan Horn, who answers to Bob Iger. Kevin Feige isn't even the second biggest on the ring. He's got 2 levels of people above him who make those shit. So all I'm saying is, yes, Kevin Feige gets given a lot of autonomy creatively for stuff, but when it comes to brand, and when it comes to cultivating brand and protecting the brand, they all have to seek the permission of Alan Horn and Bob Iger. Make no mistake about it. They all do. So don't think for a second, yeah, Disney's a parent company, but really Feige's in charge. No, he's not. He's not. He has to take direction from and answer to Alan Horn and Bob Iger. The removing of James Gunn from Guardians of the Galaxy 3 last year, that had nothing to do with Kevin Feige, but Kevin Feige's in charge. That's his movie. He should decide who's directing. Nope, Alan Horn pulled the trigger on that. And Alan Horn doesn't have to justify it to Kevin Feige or answer to Kevin Feige. Make no mistake about it. So, look, I've been saying this ad nauseum. It is not impossible. It's unlikely, but it's not impossible that a Bob Iger will give his Iger blessing to Kevin Feige to do an R-rated Deadpool. It's highly unlikely, but possible. But make no mistake about it, it's not Kevin Feige's decision. Kevin Feige can go to Alan Horn and go to Bob Iger with a recommendation, but ultimately Iger and Horn will make that decision, and it's going to be up to them. And I'm just saying, you just got to accept that because they are the guys in charge. That's the way it works. They give Kevin Feige a lot of creative freedom, but when it comes to brand, they will step in and they will dictate what does and does not happen with their brands. And Marvel is their brand. Lucasfilm is their brand. Pixar is their brand. So it's just the reality of it, brother. It's just the reality of it. All right. The DJ Tenice NC writes, yes, I need John to lose his shit again. His rants where he's pissed are the best. Laugh my ass. Oh, okay, well, yes, every once in a while I get, well, like on the Tyrese thing the other day or whatever. I mean, look, I'll understand this. When I sometimes like go off on a rant or something like that, keep in mind, it is completely confined to the realm of understanding first world problems, right? And I get hyped up and passionate, but understanding we're talking about first world issues, right? Like the stuff we're talking about, whether it's Deadpool is R-rated or not, whether it's Tyrese bad-mouthing, one of the studio's films, whether it's whatever, all of that pales in comparison to real world issues. There are people who are hungry and underemployed and homeless and there's inequality and there's a lot of much bigger, more important issues. And me getting upset within the confines of what my show is about, I'll get upset about those things, but in real relation to the real world outside of those confines, fine. But as long as we're within the confines and we're talking about this little world that we talk about on my show, then there are things I'll get very passionate about. And sometimes my passion gets a little the best of me sometimes, I will admit. Okay, next up. Dark Knight 117 writes, at the end of Bogus Journey, Bill and Ted had sons named Bill and Ted. Now, in Face of Music, they have daughters named Billy and Thea. WTF? Well, I'll be honest with you. I think I've seen Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey twice in my life. I never liked it much, so I don't even remember the end. I don't even remember the fact that they had sons named Bill and Ted. I don't even remember that. So I don't know, but that's not to say that in this movie, they don't still have sons, Bill and Ted, and daughters named Billy and Thea, right? Again, I don't know much about it. I'm less interested in the new Bill and Ted than most people are, to be honest with you. So I'm not paying that close attention to it. But even if that's the case, Dark Knight, all is not lost yet because maybe, they still do have those sons and they have the daughters. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see the movie to see how they answer that. But it's a good observation if that's accurate. If that's accurate, it's a good observation. It'll be interesting to see how they address that. All right. The Football Media writes, did you ever watch Quantum Leap? Thoughts? I mean, yeah, when I was a kid. And, I know that the guy went on to become the captain of the Enterprise. But I don't remember much about it. I remember liking it when I was a kid, but I couldn't tell you much. To be straight up honest with you, I couldn't even tell you the names of the characters. I remember a few of the episodes, but I couldn't even tell you the names of the characters. But if I remember accurately, I remember enjoying the show. So that's as much as I can say about that. Chris Hamilton writes, better duo, Hobbs and Shaw or Tango and Cash? Honestly, in my opinion, Hobbs and Shaw is the more fun duo. Now, there are a lot of people screaming at me through their monitors right now. Look, all due respect to Tango and Cash, which I do enjoy. I like Tango and Cash. But I got to admit, I prefer Hobbs and Shaw. That's just me. Kyle Mikesel writes, over under 30% Spotify Premium will be added to the Hulu, ESPN, Disney Plus deal. I don't know. It seems like everything these days is adding Spotify. I'll be honest, I don't use Spotify. I'm very much a Google guy. So I use Google Play Music, which I love. I love Google Play Music. So, I use Google Docs. I use Google Drive. I use Google everything. I use Gmail. I'm pretty much a Google Eosphere guy. But it seems like more and more Spotify is being added to a lot of stuff. So I'm going to say, Kyle, under 30% that they add Spotify to this deal, but not 0, not 1%. I think there is a chance, but I just won't go as high as 30%. So I'll take the under on 30. Ryan B writes, one of your previous questions, Quicksilver will get to the finish line. Flash will get to a different reality. That has less to do with their ability and more to do with things that exist in their respective universes. Somebody wrote in earlier and asked, what's the difference between Quicksilver and Flash? I said, well, everything is different. The only one thing that's similar is that they both have the power of super speed. Other than that, they're completely different characters. what you're pointing out, though, isn't even a difference in their respective abilities or them as characters. It's really a difference of what nature is in their individual realities, right? So, yeah, talking about John. Yeah, I know. But I mean, that's really more the difference than it is about a specific respective power that they have, per se. Like, I think if Quicksilver were in the DC universe, he could do the things that Flash could do. But that's not the way it works in the Marvel universe with Quicksilver, I think. Anyway, that's just kind of how I would look at that. But interesting observation, Ryan. Interesting observation. All right. Thunder Knight writes, first reviews for Dora and the Lost City of Gold are in, far better than expected. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit earlier. Again, take it with a grain of salt that as of the last time I checked, there was only 20 reviews. And even the ones that are positive are saying, I mean, it's for children, unlike, say, Pixar movies, which are for children and teens and young adults and senior citizens, and they're for everybody. This movie, they're all saying, is specifically for kids, but they're saying on that level it works. They're saying on that level it works. And even that is surprising me. Even that is surprising me, that it's working on that level. So yeah, I mean, color me surprised. All right. Dimsum05 writes, imagine using deepfakes on stunt doubles. Well, I mean, kind of in a way they do. I mean, even if you go back to the Star Wars prequels, right? It wasn't Christopher Lee doing the lightsaber fights. That was a different actor, and they digitally put Christopher Lee's face on top of it. So, I mean, the principles of deepfake on stunt doubles is stuff they've been doing already for a while. And I expect to see them use it more and more as we move into the future. Dimsum05 also writes, best Office episode, stress release, the fire drill, and CPR. That's good, but I gotta say, as stereotypical as it sounds, I still have to say that I think my all-time favorite Office episode is probably the wedding. It is probably, the wedding episode. Like, and that, a lot of people felt like that could have been a good series finale, right? The Jim and Pam wedding could have been a good series finale, but it's a wonderful episode. Because not only is it hilarious, it's got great heart. And if you're somebody who had followed the show up to that point, it's very emotionally gratifying. So, but that's a great one too, Dim Sum. Absolutely, that's a great one. All right. Geeky Galore writes, one of my favorite movies is Her by Spike Jonze. Ask Google, are you her? She'll give you 2 answers related to the movie. Happy Wednesday, folks. All right, I'm going to take you up. I won't do that right now, Geeky Galore, but I'm going to take you up on that. And I'm going to, because I've got my, my Google Home here in my office. So when I'm done this show, I'm going to give that a shot and we'll see what you're talking about. Thanks for sharing. All right. Jake Air writes, John, thanks for being the best movie show online. Oh, thanks so much, Jake. You know, I simply make, and this has been my philosophy since I launched the world's first movie related podcast. And it was called the Movie Blog Audio Edition. Was the name of the podcast at the time. And in talking to a buddy of mine and trying to put together what this show was going to be like, you know, the Movie Blog Audio Edition, I just decided, you know what? I'm just going to make a show that I would want to listen to. Because really, that's all I'm really going to be able to do well, because I know what I like. So I'm just going to do a show that I would want to listen to. Now, what I would want to listen to is not what everybody would want to listen to. And so, you know, I've always known that by using a philosophy of I make shows that I myself would want to watch, I recognize that that means there's going to be a bunch of people that don't want to watch my shows. And I'm comfortable with that. But by doing a show that I would want to watch, it makes sure, number one, that I always have fun doing it. And I do have fun doing this. And number two, it always means there will be some people that will want to watch it, because I'm not unique in the universe. What I like, there are a bunch of other people that like that stuff too, and we can do it together. So I'm glad that what I like, Jake, lines up with what you like in the show. So I'm really happy for that. So thank you so much for the kind words, man. I really appreciate that. All right. Spencer Fong writes, John, instead of sending your hypothetical sons to train MMA, you could just send your hypothetical daughter to train. Come on, man. That's way better. So what this is talking about, I was lamenting earlier about how I'm going to be a terrible father, particularly to any daughters I have. I feel bad for any daughters I have. I'm going to love them to death. The problem is I'm so paranoid and I'm so overprotective and I allow myself to get disconnected from reality on that level. I did it with my younger sisters. I know I will do it when I have a daughter. And I said at the time, the only way I'm going to feel a little bit better is if I have 2 sons first, put them on weight training. Like my whole son's reason, in that way, I feel bad for my sons too. Cause my sons are going to feel like the only reason they exist is to be protection for my daughter. That's how my sons are probably going to feel a little bit undervalued to me, because they're going to think that the only reason they're important to me is so they can be protection for my daughter. But that's the way my completely flawed mind works. It's completely flawed. It's because I'm paranoid, overprotective. And like I said, I'm already acknowledging I'm going to be a terrible father on that level. And I feel bad. And I'm really going to need Anne to step in and intercede and stop my worst tendencies. Anyway, Santez Henderson writes, X-Men House of X is amazing. Must read ASAP. Now, obviously, I've read House of M. I've never read House of X, but I've heard it's great. And you're not the first person to recommend to me, Santez, that I should check that out. So I absolutely will. All right. Dandyman 44 writes, was going to see Hobbs and Shaw tonight. Only been out a few days. You're the last person I would thought give away a spoiler. I would have enjoyed that. Well, I mean, come on, be fair. I did give a big warning, Dandy Man. Come on. I gave a big warning on today's show before doing it. And by the way, I don't even really consider it a spoiler. I mean, yes, it's a little bit of a surprise that this actor is in the movie, but it's not like it's a surprise cameo. He's actually got a small part in the film. He's in 4 or 5 scenes in the movie. So knowing an actor is in a movie is not a spoiler, but I know some people consider it to be such. So that's why I gave a big warning today before dropping it. I said, just so you know, everybody, I'm about to drop what some might consider to be a spoiler. So we go. And by the way, the movie was not ruined for you because knowing of who's in the movie, right? It's not like a traditional surprise little cameo. It doesn't affect the direction of the movie. It's just one little moment in the film. And then they have, like I said, 3, 4, 5 scenes in the movie after that, moving on. So come on, be fair, Dandy Man. I did give a big warning first, but anyway, there's that. Is that it? That is it. And that will do it, guys, for today's installment of the companion video, getting us all caught up from the John Campea Show leftover questions that we had from earlier today. Special thanks to all you guys for sending in those questions, not just because you gave us great fun things to talk about, but also you supported the channel while you were doing it, and you guys make it possible for me to do this stuff. You, my Patreon supporters, thank you so much for all that. And by the way, I want to remind you guys, if you guys do like watching this channel and you've watched this video and you've enjoyed watching it, whether you agree or disagree with me, do me a favor and do 3 things. Number 1, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Go on over there and just click the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Give a thumbs up to this video if you enjoyed the conversation. Not just if you agreed with what I said, unless, you're the type of person that only likes things that to completely agree with you, but whatever. If you enjoyed the conversation, just give a thumbs up to the video and make sure you leave a comment in the comment section below just to join the conversation. Remember, be respectful, be nice to each other, but give your thoughts and opinions on any or all the things that we talked about here today. All right, guys, don't forget the John Campea Show will be back again tomorrow morning. That's Thursday morning. Me, Chris Carr, Aaron Cummings will be here. I hope you'll be here as well. And just to give you guys a heads up right now, there will be no John Campea Show on Friday because Thursday night, I'm going to be flying to Toronto for a few days. So there will be no John Campea Show on Friday. I just wanted to give you the heads up on that. But there will be one tomorrow. Make sure you guys come and join me for that. All right, guys, that will do it for me. Thanks a lot for being here. My name is John Campea, and until next time, bye-bye.